nuclear waste from Taiwan dumped there. It was banned, I think was 20 years ago, because later on all nuclear power plant, they have to store their own waste. Say like the one we visit in Thailand, okay, near Kaohsiung. They put all the waste inside there. That was built recently, around 10-15 years ago. All right, and yeah, they want the nuclear waste to be removed there immediately, because that was there. I mean, has been there for quite some time, from the early 60s to late 80s, last century. It's still there. Okay, they want to remove that from there. So it's a disposal issues. Perhaps we still can tackle, but the ethical issues that I'm posing to you is that if you think that nuclear energy is dangerous, how about fossil fuel is also dangerous? This is again the use of those ethical matrix to study. This time it's not about GM food, but about nuclear power. So because the stakeholders involved, including the business, the media, the public, scientific community, regulatory bodies, and the government. So that would be very important to identify why stakeholder involvement matters. Because the old days we only had the green groups and then the business people, all right? They don't usually get along. And then we need more stakeholders to come together and develop this, what we call policy platform. So the natural disaster also include different scenario I explained, and then like for example food scarcity in Africa and US, and actually hotter. There were data coming out from different research. This is only one of the example. Okay, hotter weather affect education. Their school performance would be worse than those in schools in the northern states, like for example in the US. That even affect their cognitive development. Okay, from this study you would imagine that it's happening everywhere. A second example, of course, is Philippines. We had 10 huge typhoons. The most famous one, of course, is Hoi. A couple of years ago, almost smashed the island. Or the islands, there are many islands, but 10 strongest typhoons attacked the Philippines. Almost brought down all the major facilities in those islands in Philippines. Okay, so what can we do to help? Assess the cost by weather and climate, including these 4 categories: meteorological, hydrological, climatological events. So these are the different things. So mainly from the hydrological events, flooding or drought. Okay, and then the blue one, those are meteorological, like storms or typhoon. So you can see the disasters, the numbers, you can see increasing numbers in the last 10 years, and that was after year 2000. Okay, before year 2000, we had the the temperature increase of 0.6 to 0.8 degree. So after year 2000, we're expecting more, perhaps 6 to 8 degree. But we would like to control this down to 2 degrees. I'm not so sure whether we can get this done. So Greta actually was very upset, and then they're asking for more actions. So this is another example of what's happening in the US. You can see that in the US, different disaster in terms of money in 2017, and in the Hill Fire over there in California, and then more wildfires over there in different states. And also there are like a hurricane in the south, hurricane in the south, hurricane in the south, another hurricane in the south affecting the southern states. Now these are the data showing that the warmest days recorded in the region, not just in North America, but also in Europe, and then also in Russia, and then in Northern Europe, and some parts of the South America, Indo-Pacific, Indian Ocean, and also the Pacific region. Okay, these become more hot. Maybe I go on with this last topic on disaster is about public health issues. Now, I cite you an example of air pollution. So air pollution is linked to, the use of fossil fuel, right? And it's linked to health hazard, both in developed countries and also in developing countries. Okay, so Hong Kong should be classified as a developed country. But then you can see that there are different social index. And then you can see that the high SDI, meaning this region, there are more people in the poverty. Okay? So under the same pollution level, as you can see that the rich or those with socially disadvantaged group or SDI group, the socio-economic deprivation increase. Mortality, so in this darker region, we have data for the last 2-3 decades showing that people living in the socio-economically deprived areas, they have increase of death rate in either form, either nitrogen or particulate matter or sulfur dioxide. So it's actually happening also in Hong Kong. I could cite many other studies from around the world, Mexico or even Beijing or Taipei. Similar data also found. So you can see that from the same level of air pollution in the area, we are going to see the ethical issues. The rich, usually well off, right? They are not suffering. But I would not say that they're not suffering at all, but at least they have way to handle it. But then those in poverty line or below, they have higher death rate. Okay. So these are the key issues relating to what we call climate ethics. Here are 6 questions. Okay, so shall we take a break right now and we have more time for discussion. All right, and then let's take a break and then we have more discussion on these 6 topics one by one.